Alright, so we got the car, got our new wheels mounted, went ahead, we got our throttle cable all hooked up to the side of the motor, everything's tight, all down there is good, all our stops are in working on the brake lines. So I got my front brake all hooked up, zip tied to the axle. I moved it back and forth to make sure it ain't going to hang. So that's good. I still got to get the rear line. To go to the rear, I got to measure for that and order that. I went ahead and squared the whole car. The whole car's been squared. Whole car's been squared in raised position. We did get the motor put in. So the motor's now in the car. A little bit easier than the older motor, a little bit. About the same struggle though as usual, but a lot more room though with the motor in the car. Things left to do. We're still gonna put the chain on it. We still got to put the firewalls in it, hook up to all the coolant hoses. Got the radiator's in there. I got my radiator support. I got to do some fabrication of that because the factory Hyper mount had some it didn't line up with the radiator, the ribs on the radiator that holds the fan. So no problem, we'll take care of that. A little bit of grinding. Got to run our coolant hoses. We got to run all our electronics back in here, all of our gauges. We got to put seat belts in it. I've got all the seat belts and all that. Let's see, I've got a wing adjuster. We've got to put a wing adjuster on it. Rear end's been squared. We got a nice fat tire this year for the right rear. All the shocks are on there. I'm also running a bump stop this year on the left side for winged races. For wingless racing, I'm probably going to put a bump stop on the right side shock. But yeah, that's pretty much what we got going on. Everything's squared up. Everything's hooked up on the car. Everything's been painted, wrapped, all that. I got a bunch of panels taken off right now because they're in my way and I don't want to mess them up or make them dirty or anything like that. So I got them pulled out. But a couple little trimming pieces, stuff like that. Let's see what else. Got rear brake line, all that. I didn't get much filming done today because it just literally, we've been trying to hammer down on this thing, just get every bit done with what we can. We've only got like 2-3 weeks left, so filming has been kind of scarce lately. Actually, all the footage you seen earlier was just putting this thing together. But it's basically fitting everything, getting everything bolted up. I got my bars in. This is a radiator for the car. Okay, nope, that grommet is missing. So, got my fittings already in place. That's the radiator, and that radiator, these straight ends are going to go into the chassis itself. And they lock into the chassis at the back here. Both there and over here. And then this bracket here will come up in here and bolt in. That bolt is there, and that bolt is there. This bracket will sit in here like that. My problem is this doesn't line up. So I come over here, these notches that are here on this bracket. Hold on, sorry, wrong side. These notches here that are on this bracket, they do not line up. Alright. So that piece there hits that. That piece clears, but even if I bring this piece all the way up against that piece, I still am hitting it by a little bit. So no problem. I'm just gonna take my bench grinder, just bring that out a little bit, carry the radius over, and then come up with it on both ends, and then that'll fix that problem with the radiator. so I got the radiator mount and the whole thing put in up top here. And I just bolted it up, the whole front brace. Now I got to work on my harness. I'm probably going to tie this back, run this straight back over to the dash, my power board, and then go from there. I still got to run my lines off the bottom of the car to the engine. But that is a whole lot easier and a better setup than my last car. My last car was a pain. I had probably 50 pounds of water and hose that ran to the back of the car. This is nice. It's out of the way. It keeps it by my feet, which I'm a lot happier with, than above my head. So that's on Hyper's part. Good job, guys. Alright, so now for the fan. What I have done is went ahead and just made a harness. And this is going to run. I left it long so I can get to the gauge panel over here. But what I'm going to do is I always leave my wiring a little bit longer, and then I tie it up so at the track, if I have a wiring issue or if I need a spare piece of wire, I could cut a section out of a chunk of wiring to reuse it for something else, or anything. Even driving down the road, you never know when your vehicle is going to break down. But yeah, I'll take this, I'll bring this back there, tie it around the outside, loop it. This will run up around somewhere on the inside here, and then this will come over here to the switch panel on the dash and take care of that mess. But nice, quick, easy little fan harness for it. No big deal.